My name is Wendy Morgan, and 12 days before my younger sister's wedding, I received a text message that completely changed my relationship with my family forever. I was sitting alone in my office, reviewing final wedding schedules and vendor confirmations when my phone buzzed. And the message from my mother simply said, "You are not coming to the wedding. This family doesn't want you there anymore." Followed only moments later by another message from my father claiming that my presence embarrassed the family and made them look low class in front of important people. For several long seconds, I simply stared at the screen in complete disbelief because I could not understand how the same people who raised me could say something so cruel after everything I had done for them. Spread across my desk was a thick leather binder containing 8 months of planning, dozens of contracts, hundreds of emails, countless meetings, and more than $26,000 that I had personally spent to help create the perfect wedding for my younger sister. Instead of feeling angry or heartbroken, I experienced a strange sense of calm that settled over me like a heavy blanket because the truth had finally become impossible to ignore. I replied with only 4 words. "So, status matters more than family?" Then placed my phone face down on the desk, opened the wedding binder, picked up my pen, and began making a list of every contract, vendor, and service connected to the wedding that legally belonged to me. The one detail my parents had completely forgotten while deciding to remove me from the wedding was that nearly every important part of the celebration existed because of my hard work, money, and professional relationships. I had booked the luxury venue, negotiated discounts with vendors, arranged the catering, hired the photographers, secured the entertainment, organized transportation, designed floral installations, and personally paid thousands of dollars in deposits to make sure everything went smoothly. For most of my life, my parents treated me like the child who would never accomplish anything meaningful while constantly praising people who followed safer and more traditional paths. 12 years earlier, my father laughed when I left college to build my own business. But instead of arguing with him, I spent the next decade working harder than anyone expected and eventually built a successful event planning company that earned respect throughout the region. Everything started 8 months before the wedding when my younger sister Vivian called me in tears shortly after becoming engaged to Trent Ashford, a man she genuinely loved. Our mother immediately took control of every wedding decision and turned what should have been a joyful experience into a stressful one. So I offered my professional experience, industry connections, and eventually my own money to help create the wedding Vivian had always dreamed about. Over the following months, I sacrificed weekends, evenings, and countless hours of personal time to make sure every detail was perfect and every problem was solved before anyone else even noticed it existed. Vendor meetings, menu tastings, seating arrangements, floral consultations, transportation schedules, payment negotiations, and emergency planning all became my responsibility because I genuinely believed I was doing something meaningful for someone I loved. Several months before the wedding, I attended the engagement party where I met Beatrice Ashford, Trent's mother. And that evening turned out to be more important than I realized at the time. Unlike many wealthy people I had encountered, Beatrice treated me with genuine respect, asked thoughtful questions about my business, and seemed sincerely interested in my success. While my mother watched us from across the room with an expression I would only understand much later. The day I received those cruel messages, I immediately began canceling contracts attached to my name because I refused to continue funding people who openly viewed me as an embarrassment. One by one, I called the florist, caterer, musicians, transportation company, decorators, rental suppliers, and photographers. And although some deposits were non-refundable, every cancellation felt less like a financial loss and more like taking back a piece of my self-respect. As the afternoon continued, my phone exploded with calls, voicemails, and messages from relatives demanding explanations and accusing me of creating unnecessary drama. Not a single person asked how I felt or apologized for what had been said, because they were too busy realizing that much of the wedding they had taken for granted existed only because I had spent months quietly making it happen. The most important cancellation involved a luxury reception venue where the wedding was originally scheduled to take place, because the final payment had not yet been processed. Since the contract was legally under my name, one phone call was enough to stop thousands of dollars from leaving my account and officially release the reservation less than 2 weeks before the ceremony. That evening, my mother stormed into my office, determined to pressure me into reversing everything and restoring the wedding plan she believed she still controlled. Instead, she found me sitting calmly behind my desk with written confirmations proving that nearly every major vendor had already canceled their services. And for the first time, she realized that treating me as disposable had consequences she could not fix. Later that night, my cousin secretly contacted me and revealed information that changed everything I thought I knew about my family and their intentions toward me. According to her, my parents and aunt had spent years discussing ways to gradually push me out of family gatherings, holidays, celebrations, and important events while making it appear as though the distance was my own choice. A few hours later, Vivian came to my apartment crying and demanding to know why I was destroying her wedding plans after months of helping her. During our emotional conversation, I showed her the messages our parents had sent. And after she left, I accidentally discovered a family group chat filled with years of conversations discussing how to exclude me from family life and eventually remove me from the wedding entirely. The deeper I read into those messages, the more painful the truth became because they revealed years of manipulation, disrespect, and hidden resentment that I had never fully seen before. Instead of exposing everyone immediately, I carefully saved screenshots, organized evidence, and chose patience because I knew the truth would have far greater impact if it reached the right people at the right time. A few days later, I received an invitation from Beatrice Ashford asking me to join her for tea and bring all documents related to the wedding planning process. During our meeting, she carefully reviewed contracts, invoices, receipts, payment records, and screenshots. And by the end of our conversation, she understood exactly who had funded the wedding, who had done the work, and who had been lying about it. While my parents desperately searched for replacement vendors in a new venue, Beatrice personally invited me to attend the wedding as her guest because she believed I deserved to be there. Unable to secure another luxury location on such short notice, my parents were forced to move the reception to a Holiday Inn ballroom near the airport, replacing the elegant celebration they had planned with a far simpler event that cost them far more than expected. When the wedding day finally arrived, I attended wearing a simple navy dress and entered the ballroom beside Beatrice herself, making it impossible for anyone to pretend I did not belong there. My mother and father were visibly shocked to see me, but they could do nothing as Beatrice calmly informed everyone that I would be sitting with the Ashford family throughout both the ceremony and reception. The reception became the moment everything finally unraveled because my mother publicly accused me of ruining the wedding out of jealousy and bitterness. In response, Beatrice calmly presented contracts, invoices, payment records, and screenshots from the family group chat in front of relatives and guests, exposing years of deception and proving that I had funded much of the original wedding while being secretly pushed out of the family. As complete silence filled the ballroom, my sister walked across the floor and chose to stand beside me, while my parents struggled to defend the truth that had finally been exposed in front of everyone. I wished Vivian happiness, quietly walked away with my dignity intact, and in the months that followed, my business continued growing. My relationship with my sister slowly healed, and I learned that people who judge others based on status eventually reveal far more about themselves than they ever reveal about the people they try to diminish. Please subscribe and share our channel. We make videos for you.